All right. Welcome back, listener, to the Forest Brothers podcast. It's your boy Mutsa Chris Don out here in the cut with my boys Mangoro and Samson. What's up, boys? Holla at the people for us. Starting with the boy Sangi and then on to the boy Mr. Mangoro.
Hello, dear listener. Welcome to the Forest Brothers podcast. Once again, we're very glad that you've joined us. I'm here with my two brothers, Mangoro, Mari. Great to see you, gents. We have a lot of things on the agenda today. We're going to talk about Arsenal, aren't we? We're gonna talk about Arsenal. And to my Arsenal fans out there, it's not a happy conversation, but it's one we need to have. So get comfortable, get a beverage. Let's get started, boys.
Beautiful listeners listening to the Forest Brothers podcast, listening, watching, doing whatever you want. Definitely tune in. Forest Brothers are here. Would like to greet you on this fine Wednesday morning, afternoon, evening. You tuned in. We're back. More content. And yeah, let's just get it started, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, listener, this is what the episode today is gonna be all about. So, obviously, we're gonna talk about Arsenal, but we gotta talk about City first. Given what happened in the Man City versus Wolves game, so we'll talk about City for a little bit, jump into Arsenal, do a deep dive into that, see Sange cry a little bit. The vibes, and then we gotta talk about this Tuchel signing for the English national team. So we gotta chat about that. But yeah, that's kind of what the pod will be around today. So yeah, so jumping straight in, Man City. So I actually want to hear your boys' opinion on this because there's been a lot of discourse online about Man City's goal today, their last minute goal by John Stones, and the whole Bernardo Silva conversation about, oh, he was impeding the goalkeeper, the goal shouldn't have stood, City have paid the refs again, this and that. Because let's be honest, City had a terrible game today. Haaland had one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. I don't even think he touched the ball more than 5 times, if at all. So FPL wise, it might be time to sell him, but let me not get ahead of myself. And I'm sure as soon as I sell him, he's going to start banging again because this is the fourth game that he's blanked. He's not scored. He's not assisted. He hasn't done shit. Um, Wolves got absolutely discombobulated by Chelsea a couple of weeks ago. So you're telling me City can't do that? Anyway, but I do want to address the Bernardo Silva thing and whether you boys think that last goal should have actually stood or not. So actually, let me hear from Sanyi because I know you love the dark arts a little bit as an Arsenal fan. What was that Man City dark arts? Was that Arab money, or should the goal have stood actually because it was a fair goal and people are just crying for nothing? So over to you, Sanyi.
So the issue people have with the goal is that there's a period in time. Okay, so Bernardo Silva is standing in front of the keeper, which he can do. You can stand in front of the keeper if you want. It's up to the defenders to move you away or the keeper to push you away. That's something you can do. And he's not offside when he's doing it because when the corner's taken on's offside. The issue is when I think there's a second ball that comes in, or actually no, when the ball actually comes in and it gets headed by someone, he's still behind the Wolves defender, so he's still offside. Now, when you're in front of the keeper, it can be said that you're impeding the keeper because the keeper can't get to where they want to get to. And Mangora, being part of the goalkeepers unit, can speak to this. Sometimes as a keeper during a corner or a set piece, you want to rush out, you know, um, and claim the cross, or you just want to move forward so you have a better shot at saving the ball if it gets headed towards you, you're in a better position. So clearly from the replay, he wants to move forward, but he can't. And I think that's the issue. Um, Personally, I don't think it's a goal because this is a funny thing. For every contentious issue you ever find, just know there's an Arsenal equivalent that you can reference. There's an Arsenal equivalent of this exact situation. And I think it was last season, Ben White impeding the keeper. I can't remember the game, but it was definitely Ben White. and the goal got reversed. We had scored a goal, but Ben White was in an offside position in front of the keeper. Keeper couldn't move. They said because Ben White is offside and obstructing the keeper, he's part of the play, and that's offside. We're gonna call offside. It's no goal. So in my opinion, yes, if you're calling offside, like he's not following the keeper, like no, that's not it. Offside. Yes, 100%. It should not stand. But this is Man City. It's not Arsenal. They're gonna get that call. So I'm not surprised they ended up giving it in the end. So yeah.
So I would say it's two things when it comes to just the impeding and the goalkeeper situation. It just depends on the situation. If it's a shot and the player's standing in an offside position, you are blocking what is called the line of sight of the goalkeeper. If you're in an offside position, it's usually judged that you're offside. But then in today's situation, from what I saw and what I did a bit of analysis on was it was a blockage essentially. It's just a tactic that teams employ. You do see like teams employ. I think Arsenal, as Muta said, are the masters of the dark arts. This is what they do quite often, and it's also I think it's just down to the goalkeeper in that situation, either assigning a player to take care of that player and move him out of the way, or going in front of that particular player so that he can attack the ball at the point of contact. Because if he wants to go out, of course, if you're going to go out and challenge for the ball as a goalkeeper, you're going to stand in front of the opposing player, or you're going to screen him so that he's behind you at all times. Because if he pushes you, you get a foul, regardless of how small that touch is. So I think for him, then it was I'd say 50-50, but then I think we're at that point of just revisiting something I said I think a season or two back. I think these referees do deserve to have some, or match officials do deserve to have post match media, like post match interview to explain some of the decisions, because we're seeing them every weekend now. Like there isn't a weekend where, be it on NBC, Sky, Supersport, any channel that promote like pushes the Premier League, where they're not talking about the referees. Come tomorrow, there'll be a referee discussion just about this particular weekend, and it's happening every weekend. I think we're at that point now where Howard Webb needs to stop being arrogant and start to have some sort of referee situation yet, because they need to explain themselves. When they make wrong decisions, they need to be called out on them, because we call out players, we call the media calls out players, they call out coaches. We here in the First Brothers podcast, we call out those individuals. Let's also call out these referees and scrutinize them. I know the media will do a good job, especially like some of the likes that of the referee that was, I think the assistant referee that was there today, the VAR officials, the guys at the Chelsea game. Throughout the season, some of the decisions that have been made by these referees, I think it's only right, because now when you put them under pressure, they'll start understanding that this is serious. They need to make correct calls, because this is going to continue. If this is not taken care of, next week we're gonna be back here having the exact same conversations, because it's just not going anywhere. Like honestly, like I think, like, not that I think I'm past the point of thinking now. I know that VAR has made them very terrible. Like I think they've either become lazy or they just as bad. Because like when you think about it, 10 years ago, soccer was literally the same, or however many years ago, the game was the same, and referees were getting offsides correct. They were getting penalty calls correct, dives and everything. Now you give them technology and they're terrible. How is that the case? How is that even possible? As the game got faster, I don't know, but it's just honestly just not good enough from these officials, and they're so arrogant. I think we need to remove that arrogance from them.
I mean, again, that's fair. That is fair. The refs have been very poor. Like even this weekend, we saw a bunch of red cards that I mean, some of them were deserved, but some of them a little too harsh. So I do think that I also advocate for referee interviews after games. Like, hey, why did you do that? And no, nothing in their ear with someone chirping in their ear from the head office saying, "Say that." No, 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 no. I want clean ears, nothing. Just you and the mic. Your thoughts. Why do you do that, sir? That's what I want. But for me personally, the goal had to stand. But the only point that I was like, okay, this is a little sus, from VAR was when they showed the tape to the ref, and even us, like the replays, they only showed Bernardo Silva crouching and Stones hitting in the ball, right? That's all we saw. Like we saw him standing there, he crouched, boom, boom, boom. I was like, okay, cool. To me, this is a goal. As soon as I said goal given, now we see new footage of the keeper pushing Bernardo Silva and having to readjust himself. And I was like, wait a minute, come on, wait, why didn't you show this before the goal was given? And why did you show this footage to the ref as well? Because to me, then it became 50-50. Like, all right, that keeper pushed his brother away. The ball came, Stones, so him pushing him might have. I mean, to be honest, I still think the goal should have stood anyway. But I just thought with that extra evidence, it could have added a bit more nuance to the conversation, but it wasn't included. So maybe that is that Arab money speaking. But I don't know if you boys saw that. Sam said maybe you, I don't know if you clocked that too, but I was like, yo, man, that's a little touch on the nose. That's a little cheeky, man. Like, why are you showing us new footage after the decisions we made? Like, what's up with that?
Well, that's what I'm talking about the offside. So he's he's obstructing and he's offside. So like, if the keeper has to push you to do his job, you're obstructing him. Like that's like you're in his way. Like there's no debating that. And I think that's where it stands. But yeah, like you said, man, the fact that they don't show the ref that footage is kind of wild. Um, and we'll talk about the Arsenal one, but the ref saw all kinds of angles. They even had an angle on Raya. Like this was happening at the halfway line. They had an angle on Raya. Like how they missed this one, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to ask, the someone there. I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you. I really can't.
So before we get to this Arsenal juice, briefly as we finish off on City here, as we said, City Wolves is not a team that City should have lost to or should have even had issues with. But clearly we saw, and Wolves actually scored first, and City have not kept a clean sheet this entire season. They've been getting scored, and actually they've been getting scored against first before like any other team equalizes. So they've actually been conceding goals first more often than they score first. So Mangoro, as you're seeing this unfold, what is going on at Man City for you this season? Is this Pep getting tired? Is he not riding these guys enough? Do they need to buy new players? You can't be having John Stones score last minute headers to save you. He saved them from Arsenal. He's saving them today from Wolves. Is this going to be continuous? Or is this Pep just, I don't know, vibing? Because, I mean, City usually win the league in the last 15 games anyway. So these little things don't matter in the end. But anyway, I was just kind of curious to hear from you, Mangor. Like, is this the downfall of City? Are we starting to see them lose their power, especially at the back? Because I saw as well that they're willing to sell the boy Kyle Walker for 15 million next season. Like, at the end of the season, they're selling their brother for 15 mil. I saw something about that, which for me I thought was very low, but maybe not. Anyway, Mangoro, what's your take on City and their defense and just moving forward?
Um, I wouldn't say this is going to be particularly their downfall. I think City's downfall is going to be in courtroom somewhere. I don't know where in the UK. That's where City's downfall will be. I would also mention just around their defense. I think one thing that our listeners and we also have to realize is if you keep on chopping and changing your defense each week, you're always keeping the players on their toes. Like so many players change. One week it's Gavadio, the next it's Ake, it's Rico Lewis, it's Kyle Walker, it's John Stones, it's Akanji, it's Ruben Diaz. Once in a while he'll throw in Ortega and goal. Like Rodri's not there. Like it's just a lot of things that are just culminating into the City team that can't defend, honestly. Maybe it's also the system they play that also could be a contributing factor. They kind of like underestimate a lot of the teams they play against in terms of like just the way they play. Like these little Wolves guys, they have no chance against scoring against us. So we kind of want to intimidate them, and these teams realize that City is actually a team that you can breach if you attack and you do the correct things properly. I heard Samson mention something about the young brother Traore earlier that he has done some very interesting things against Manchester City. Maybe he was scared of that and he was intimidated by the great city. So I think for them that's like the main issue. But then also like yeah, when you change your defense, honestly, like Arsenal and Liverpool have strong defenses because the core of the back five, be it the back four and the goalkeeper, they don't change. You don't change. If you keep on changing, these are the results you're gonna get. If they put together the same back four or back whatever they played at the back for a good 5 to 6 games, you'll start to see the clean sheets come. But I'm pretty sure with how Pep plays and the way he wants to give everyone an opportunity, next week you'll see Rico Lewis playing. And then even play left back. So you just never know with that guy. And I think maybe that's just the trade off that they have. Like they're just gonna decide that we're just gonna keep on rotating players because maybe they're also just planning for the progression stage in terms of like some of these players are above the age of 30. Your John Stoneses, and Kyle Walker. So maybe they're trying to think about a succession plan for them because you can see that these guys they can't go on for the next 3 4 years.
It could also be because of that thing we spoke about in the previous episode. So let's not go check that episode out. But the international breaks and all the tournaments that they're playing, like maybe Pep is just trying to keep his people fresh, by rotating them a lot more. Maybe that could also be a function of that, and he's just trying to keep competitive. So maybe that could be another reason to add to that. But I know Samson is itching for this one, so let's shift over to the Arsenal debacle because Sange, we have to talk about this, man. I know you're talking about angles from Raya's angle, this and that, but at the end of the day, Saliba pulled down the last man. Like Saliba was the last man. He pulled his shirt. Like whether or not that brother's gonna get to the ball or not, give him a chance. You can't just pull him down because you know you're outpaced. So at the end of the day, like I don't even know why the ref was being lenient towards you brothers. Like it should have been a straight red card. I don't even know why there was a kerfuffle and a VAR check. Like, hey man, let the brother walk. I think there's also like a I don't know if the officials are scared of Arsenal when it comes to these things. I don't know if Arteta is a scary guy, but sometimes, and also I feel like Saliba has a very clean look. Like it's like this guy. Come on, he's not violent. He's not gonna red card. Did he really pull his shirt, or was a shirt begging to be pulled? It's Saliba. So I feel like there's also that I don't know, that folklore that you guys are. If it was Gabriel, oh my god, straight red card. No one gives a fuck. Like Gabriel would have gotten that red card right out of the pocket, have been burning hot. But because of the Saliba, I feel like there was that hesitation. Like, all right, all right, all right, all right. It's probably a yellow card. It's probably a yellow card. Because Gabriel have stood up from that situation, smiling, teeth, his veneers, and they're like, nah, send him off. Send him off. And so so anyway, Samson, what's happening on the discipline side? Because Saliba, this is his first red card ever. What's going on over you? What's going on over there, Arsenal? Is Arteta telling these guys to be dogs, be violent, be doing this? Is they just like do you guys just not care about the Premier League anymore? Is that what it is? You guys just all that pent up aggression from the past 2 seasons of almost winning it. Now you're here like fuck it, fuck this shit. is that what it is? Tell us, Samson.
So I think it's a few things. So I think it's uh, sometimes there's a level of arrogance with the way the team plays, where especially against smaller teams, if we're not creating enough or if we're not as dominant, then guys feel like we should be winning, we should be in charge. Because like that tackle from Saliba was kind of like, I'll probably win this, right? Like I'm Saliba, I can win anything, you know. But obviously, no, you can't win that. You fouled him. You can't do that. So, and even I look at the other red cards, like Declan Rice's one was still wild to me because a lot of players have done the exact same thing so far. Nothing has happened quite to that level. The Trossard one, uh, yeah, it's like I think he just I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking because even the way he challenged for the ball, it didn't really make sense. Like he didn't have to do that. Um, the Trellis run might be different. Like that might just be like an individual brain dead thing because he did cause the goal today as well. He passed it back to Saliba, and that's why Saliba had to do that. Like he was trying to cover for Trossard, by still trying to get the ball. But anyways, yeah, I think arrogance, and I think if we um, want to keep this title thing going, I think Declan Rice had a really nice post-match interview where he was just talking about we can't beat ourselves. We have to make sure we're very professional about this, and we at least make sure we finish games with 11 men because that gives us the best chance. And that's just true. You can't. There's certain things I will say like, yeah, the refs like can do better. Again, the Trossard red dumb, but the ref can do better. The Rice card red, yeah, but the ref can do better. This one is like, yes, you can talk about the ref because like he gave the yellow, and was there enough to overturn it? I don't think so. But also like Saliba, you can do better. So it's like you like as an Arsenal player, I feel like they should know that given all the stuff that's happened in the last year or the last 2 years with referees and calls, that it's going to be hard. The refs are going to be hard on you every game. You either won't get calls going your way or you'll get something given that isn't given else. So at the very least you can do is just be very professional and very careful about how you control yourself. I feel like that's the first thing Arsenal players should be doing, just making sure they don't give the ref a decision to make. If we can do that, I feel like a lot of these would be avoided. I don't think there's like a huge discipline problem. Like I don't see us the reds we get aren't from like dumb fouls where like for example like the Nunes yellow today or the what was it? The Nico Jackson? Yeah, Nico Jackson got a yellow against the like those are dumb, right? Like those are two guys who have a problem who need to be sat down and like, yo, what are you doing? But these guys, I don't think we have a problem per se. I think it's just like a mentality thing. Like, can we control our emotions and just like finish games? Like, let's just make sure we don't make dumb mistakes. Like, because you can get rid of these mistakes. Like, these are not systemic problems. Like you can get rid of them, and it's just about the players coming together and deciding that yo, we're gonna stop this. So maybe a team meeting, maybe that does it. But yeah, I don't know what else you can do. But yeah, I don't know, Mongor. Maybe you have a different opinion.
I don't know. I think it, there could be a multitude of things happening here in terms of just Arsenal and this discipline problem. So it's too many red cards because I don't know when the season started. I know there was a huge commotion around referees are going to clamp down on a lot of things like the Trossard situation against City, the Declan Rice thing. So they were literally, and now a lot of players like are getting booked for dissent, and I feel like that could be part of it. Like I think maybe that also does contribute to it. Maybe Arsenal players have forgotten that this is something that the Premier League has kind of enforced this year going forward because they feel like the referees have been disrespected by these players. Sometimes they are disrespected. 90, I'd say like a few, maybe 85% of the time, the players are justified because the referees do make some very questionable decisions. And then when I look at just the Arsenal situation in the game against Bournemouth, I think it was safe to say that Saliba had to go. Like I don't know, why didn't you just let him score? Like they were gonna come back. Like it's just what was it? Evan Nielsen? Like I don't think that guy has scored a goal ever since he walked into the Premier League. I could be wrong. The few Bournemouth supporters can correct me if I'm wrong, but that guy is not scoring. That guy missed a penalty against Sanchez. Sanchez is he fall amongst the worst keepers in the Premier League. So I think they just should have let him score, like in all honesty. But I don't know, like there Arsenal, I think they just have to have a conversation because there's too many red cards. Like I don't know if there's been a team that has won the Premier League with the number of red cards that Arsenal have had. I don't know what's the ratio at this point. Samson, like 50% every other game. I think they probably at this point they probably train with 10 men each week just in anticipation of like getting sent off because it's just too much now. Like sometimes you just watch it like, oh, there was a red card. You don't have to guess. I don't even watching the game. You're like, it's an Arsenal player. I don't even have to guess. It's probably an Arsenal player. Most likely a midfielder. This time it was a defender. But I don't know. Like, yeah, Arteta does need to sit down with these players because this could cost them the league. We've seen them struggle. Like you saw against, I think was it Brighton as well. They got a red card. Oh, that was a Declan Rice one. Like they were hanging on. This time they couldn't hang on against Bournemouth. So I think there has to be some serious conversations about these red cards. Maybe start to implement some fines on the player side because this just won't cut it. Like if you continue at this rate, you'll be lucky to be in top four. In all honesty.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was actually gonna say that because these red cards also come with it's it's terrible because yes, if you get a red card, you're most likely not gonna win that game. You're either gonna draw or you're gonna lose. And in Arsenal's particular case, you're already missing Odegaard. Now you're missing Saka today. Saka wasn't there, right? Martinelli also didn't start. So you're also now having issues at the back. Issues in the team in terms of fitness because you guys are playing a shit ton of games, right? And brothers are falling left, right, and center. Now what happens if you lose Raya? Red card. I don't even know who your backup goalkeeper is actually at Arsenal. But point is, you already have injury issues. Now you've got Saliba missing for the next 3 games. And then even look who you guys actually playing next, Samson, there at Arsenal. You guys don't actually have easy games coming up because you're playing Liverpool on October 27th, right? You play the Champions League actually. Well, that doesn't affect anything for Tuesday. But next week, Sunday, you're playing Liverpool. And then EFL, it's not really an issue, but then you play Newcastle in the Premier League. So Liverpool's going to be a very big game. You need to win that game if you want to keep your title chances alive. Now you don't have your best defender. It's just Gabriel. I don't even know who your backup defender is. Timber, but Timber is also injured, right? From what I gather, he didn't play today. So Samson, like the ramifications of these things are massive. It's not just like, oh yeah, fuck it, man, just Liverpool got a red card. We'll figure it out. Hey, it's not looking good. So in terms of the table as well, you guys are already 4 points behind Liverpool, right? You've already lost 2 games this season, and it's still not too bad, but these are the things that at the end of the season, Liverpool or Man City has, 105 points and you guys have 103. And it's like, shit, man. But anyway, so I kind of wanted to hear what your thoughts are on that, Samson, in terms of like what it means, actually. It's not something to be play with and the ramifications. And then looking at Liverpool next week, are you concerned?
So I'm only going to be seriously concerned if we have another game with a sending off. I think for now it's still like, because we had a similar start last season, where I think the best word for it is unprofessional, where the players, they get into a rhythm in the game where it's like they expect certain things to just happen, and when they don't happen, they're shocked, like, wow, that didn't happen. It's like, no, you didn't do what you're supposed to do. That's why it didn't work out. So it's like just that level of unprofessionalism. But if you can get rid of that, I think you're fine because it's still early. We're 8 games in, right? That was our first loss. And again, 4 points behind Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool is going to stay that stable, just on the evidence of today. I know in previous part I spoke about them being, good because they limit mistakes and limit opportunities, but they also don't. I haven't seen them score a lot. I haven't seen them look as, like remember, like in the Klopp years when they were good, they were like terrifyingly good. Where like they're walking into games and they're blowing teams away. They don't really do that as much this year, and I think that's part of the reason why they lost against Nottingham Forest, where they just allowed Nottingham Forest to hang on and hang on and hang on until Nottingham Forest did something. And with that Liverpool defense, you have Trent, who's always shaky. Robertson has looked a little shaky even. That's why he's been getting subbed off a lot. Allison is out. I think they still are going to miss some points And I think we still have a chance against them next week. I don't think it's a impossible game. I think we're still going to give them a game. Man City, we've spoken about the issues. De Bruyne has been missing games. Kovacic just can't replace Rodri defensively. He can replace the goals, maybe he can replace the passing, but he just defensively he can't do it. So I still think they're catchable. So it's just still too early to say we're out or anything like that. But yeah, one more game like this though, one more red card. I think I'm flying in, bro. I'm flying into London. I'm grabbing Oz by the shirts and I'm talking to Oz because you just nah. We can't have another red card. No way.
Nah, I feel that. And so actually, I want to direct this to Mangoro first because he knows how it goes in the Premier League with these coaches. That brother Arteta has been at Arsenal since what 2019, and if he hasn't gotten any silverware since then, the brother actually he signed a 3-year deal, right? I think he's got until 2027. So he's there for the next 3 seasons at Arsenal. I just want to hear actually from Mangoro, and then maybe Samson, you have some thoughts on this, but how many more chances are you going to give this brother? Because he's been talking about the vision. Don't worry, we got it, got it. Even last season, Samson, I remember you were saying this is the best Arsenal. What actually you were saying this in the previous episode, or one of these previous episodes, where you were like, this is the best team that we've had in a long time, right? But it's like doesn't look like you're gonna do anything though. Doesn't I don't know where the trophies are gonna come from. This is becoming Spurs territory here. So it's now, I'm also just curious, Mangoro, as well, like as does Arteta deserve 3 chances? Is his time is it starting to look a little dicey for the brother? Nagelsmann is out there, you know. I've even heard some shouts for Xabi Alonso. He's out there, But I was just kind of curious about that, as is Arteta made for this? Or should you just go back to being Pep's number 2 and, maybe you can win trophies that way?
I think from where he took the club to where they are now, it's possible that he could do something in the next couple of years. I don't know. I think even when you look at Klopp, like it's the Premier League is a very difficult league to like try and do something in because there's that bold man there at the Etihad. That guy is relentless. That guy just doesn't stop. You look at Klopp. People say both Liverpool over I don't know how many years, maybe 8 or 9, won one Premier League title, one Premier League title because of that guy Pep. Like that guy Pep just doesn't stop. Like so, and I'm pretty sure that Arteta is now feeling the pain of that because this guy is relentless. Like when you feel that he's down and out, he'll find a way to win the league. So I think maybe he's going through that. Maybe if Pep moves on from City, Arsenal will be ready to challenge because that's one thing. I believe they are ready to challenge at this point. It's just there's one team that just knows how to turn around because the Premier League it's one interesting league where it doesn't matter how you start, it matters how you finish. And City year in and year out proved that to us. The other thing is with just Arteta's time being up, and if we need to really start having that conversation, I don't necessarily think so because the caliber of manager that is out there is absolutely not great. You have the likes of GP still available and the likes, and you get to a point where you're now plucking coaches out of the Eredivisie and you're throwing them in big jobs. Arne Slot came out of, what is it, Feyenoord? Uh, Manchester United plucked Eric Ben Haag from Ajax. So you can see Chelsea went down a different route. They went and got a Leicester manager. So you can see that there isn't as many like good, high quality coaches that have like the longevity. If like say for example you gave the job to like a Thomas Tuchel or one of these other free coaches, what is their lifespan? 2 3 years. these clubs aren't looking for that now. They're looking for at least a project for 5 years. That's why I think Arteta signed a new contract, because it's part of the process they're going through in terms of like empowering new coaches, and going to, like I'd say, a different route. Because if you keep the same coaches, or we keep on recycling these same managers, we're just going to see 2 3 year coaches, and then nothing. A club will win a trophy or two, and then they'll be done. But at least, like, when you look at Pep, there's been that continuity amongst the players, the coaching staff, and a lot of the people, and they've been continuing to dominate. So I don't know. Like, I think that's just my viewpoint on Arteta. I don't know if you agree with that, Samson, or you think it's time to seriously look on the bench and stop looking at the players on the field.
I think we still have to look at the players because, for example, we've just spoken about the discipline issue. That's on the players. You know, the 3 red cards that the 3 players got. You know, I'll be the first to talk about what the referee could have done differently, but all those decisions, if those players on different teams, you know, like say for example, that's John Stones instead of Saliba. John Stones is letting that guy score. That's exactly what John Stones is doing. Number one, because John Stones can't catch him. And there's actually another reason I'm upset at Saliba. I think he could have caught him. I think if he just, how many last minute tackles have you seen Saliba make where he's running the length of the field? He could have done that, but you know he did a dumb thing. Um, Rice again, if that's Rodri, is Rodri doing that? Probably not. Bernardo Silva, Bernardo Silva initiated that whole thing with Trossard, right? Bernardo Silva does not get sent off for something like that. So it's like, yes, it's been a while. It's been 5 years, but the man dragged us from the depths, bro. Like we were where United are right now. You know, that's man. You can't win the title from there. You're not even looking at the title. You know, when we there was like honestly like a 5 year period or a 4 year period where all we were thinking about as Arsenal fans was top four. Can we smell top four again? That was the goal. That was the dream. Like now we're getting into Champions League quarterfinals. We're challenging for the league. Like man, you gotta let him see where he can take you. You know, and you have to wait and see what the players do because I don't think the only player I've seen that has really done something for us on a in a big stage in a big moment is Bukayo Saka. Everyone else has been hit or miss when the lights are brightest. So I think we still need the players to give us a little more before we can start looking at Arteta. He's 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 our hero right now.
Hey, you know what? That's fair, man. Stick with your man. Stick with your man. Personally, I wouldn't disrespect yourselves by saying that you're where Man United is right now. Nah, man. Like, give yourself a bit more respect than that. Man United.
No, we were
Nah, but I'm
we
saying you
were
never got that far. You never got that bad. Like, you never touched 10th. So
you you don't realize. Okay, maybe we weren't physically there, but it
yeah, that's what
felt
I
like
mean.
it.
Yeah,
You know.
no, but it wasn't that though. So
Yeah,
you
yeah, fair
know,
enough.
I'm not one to support. You know, I mean, I'd have been happy you said that, but come on, like, it's not bad. It's not that bad. Like it's not. Anyway, in the last 3 minutes here, I just wanted to get your boys' opinion on what you think, because Tuchel is a new coach for the Three Lions. I don't actually know if a lot of English fans are happy about this or not. I have no idea, but I just know that it's a step up from that brother Southgate, probably. And I'm very curious to see how they do international wise. But I think he starts in January. So even this next international break, we're not even going to see, he's not going to be there, from what I understood. But maybe the next, after Jan, that's when we start to see Tuchel and maybe what he does or what he thinks or whatever the case may be. So I actually wanted to throw it to you, Mangoro, because, I know you're an avid follower of these international games. Some of us only watch the Premier League. I will wake up for Brentford versus Southampton before I wake up for England versus Slovakia. So that's just me. But yeah, what are your thoughts? He's your former Chelsea coach. I know you have your beefs with the brother Tuchel, but yeah, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on if you believe this is a good, pairing. Is it a good thing for the English national team? Should we expect them to finally bring it home? Will he bring it home, or is this just going to be another heartbreaking partnership for the English fans? Over to you, Magaro.
Before you confuse the fans, but I don't have any beef with Tuchel. I think his time at Chelsea, he gave us the Champions League. Thank you for that. I think he had reached the end of his lifespan at Chelsea and Todd Bowley as well. But that's a conversation for another day. But I'd say the appointment of Tuchel is an interesting one. I think I've seen a lot of people mixed reactions. I heard the England FA talk a lot about them wanting an A-list manager. They believe that they've got an A-list manager in Thomas Tuchel. Because when you look at Tuchel, I believe he could maybe do something because I think he's those kind of like knockout specialists. Like in terms of like knockout tournaments, he does well in those. Your Champions League, he took an unfancied PSG to a Champions League final. He took Chelsea, an unfancied Chelsea, to a Champions League final and won it. So I think he does have the caliber to do something along those lines because international football is primarily knockout tournaments, and he could do something. The only issue is there's going to be a split amongst, I believe, the people that support England and the people that watch England in terms of how they want to win the tournament. Because I believe winning such tournaments like the World Cup in 2026 in the US is going to be based on playing the most treacherous football and defending well and scoring a goal or two. Are the English fans going to be happy with that? Because if you play pretty, you're not going to go far in tournaments. That I can safely say. You can play all the pretty football you want, and not win the tournament, or do you want to be scrappy and win? It's just a trade off. There isn't the best of both worlds. One other thing that I want to mention with Tuchel and England is that we're going to see a very defensive England. Like they're going to defend. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the back five coming back. I know people hammered Gareth for it, but at the time that was what was available at his disposal. So we could see some players coming back into the fold, the England fold that have been out. So we could see a very defensive England. So with Tuchel, you wouldn't put it past. Maybe you could also play a back four, but that back four would be very very defensive with like two sixes sitting deep, so like making a box there between the two CDMs and the two center backs, making a box, making it hard to break down. So all in all, I'd say the jury's still out. We'll have to start to see like as he takes the job and he starts to implement his style of play, and you see, I think the biggest one we'll see probably January, February is the first call ups that he makes, like his first England squad. It'll start to give us an inclination as to what exactly he's going to do. Because with Tuchel, you can never know. One day you think he's going to defend, and then he comes out and he attacks. Because even like he's that one manager who swings on the pendulum from one side to the next. Because if you look at his Dortmund side, very attacking but terrible defending. You look at his Chelsea side, terrible attacking but strong defending. So I don't know if we'll be able to strike the balance at England, and also what are the expectations at England. So those are things that the fans will have to keep in mind with Tuchel as he takes up this new opportunity.
Yeah, I was gonna say with that, yeah, like Samson, Southgate was starting to get known for picking favorites, and with a new manager in charge, I'm sure we might start to see some diversity, maybe in who he picks. Or I don't know if maybe do you think there'll be diversity in who he's picking, or do you think he's just gonna follow the status quo? Like, is he gonna keep Harry Kane up there, or is he gonna choose to bench Kane and put Watkins? Is he gonna put Foden as the 10? Is he gonna put Matters? Is Mason Mount gonna come back? Is he gonna keep Shaw? Kyle Walker. Like, does your boy Ben White feel a bit better about the English national squad and come back? Things like that. Do you foresee any changes in the squad and who actually gets picked and who plays actually? Because maybe there's another English player out there that has been getting overlooked for years. or whatever, and they actually deserve to be there. But because of favoritism and nepotism, Harry Maguire is still getting call ups. Are we gonna see maybe newer, younger English defenders coming in? From other parts of the country, like I don't know, maybe a defender from Wrexham is now gonna be picked up as compared to the boy Harry Maguire. I don't know. Anyways, Samson, yeah, what do you foresee happening in terms of squad selection and who he plays?
So I actually sympathize with Tuchel here because he doesn't have a lot of defensive talent, like in terms of central defenders. The only one he has that he can rely on is John Stones, and everyone else is, still kind of finding their way. What I will say is Maguire should be at best the fourth option. Dan Burns should never see an England shirt again, and neither should Lewis Dunk. Those two men should hang it up. It's never happening again. Stop it. It was a dumb idea from the beginning. I don't know why they were ever there, but they should never be called up. Um, the other guy I think we should be seeing is Fikayo Tomori, uh, playing for AC Milan. He's been playing for a top team, top-ish team in the Serie A for a few years now as a starting center back, as a leading center back. I've always thought he's deserved a call up, at least, instead of a guy who is in and out of the United team, always making mistakes. So I think we'll see more of him. Maybe we'll see more of Jared Branthwaite playing for Everton. Um, but yeah, he doesn't have the sort of defensive talent that he can build a really strong defense around. If you think of the Chelsea team, their strength was defense. You had Rudiger, you had Thiago Silva, and you had Reece James, who could do both. You could be a third center back, you could be a wing back. And you throw in your Chalobahs, just super athletic, as a third CB, Christensen. Like, that's a pretty strong unit, right? But England, man, Stones, Gehi, Stones, Tomori, Kyle Walker. I mean, come on, man. Trent, bro, like, who are you defending? Chilwell, Jesus. Like, man, these are not good defensive players. So he's going to have to, I don't think he has a choice. I think he might have to go attacking, and maybe do what France did in the 2018, where it's like, when we attack, like everyone's going up, but then we defend in a very narrow block and everyone gets back. Maybe something like that. But yeah, what I think the England fans should expect is more, um, a better ability to um, solve problems mid-game. I think that was Southgate's main issue. When things are not going well, he's just rolling the dice. He's like, I think in the last tournament he threw on Watkins one game, and then the next game he threw on Tony. Like, that was a guess. He didn't. He had no idea what was going to happen there. I was just, yeah. Let's just see what. That's not what you're going to go to. Tuchel will make subs even at halftime if he needs to. He will make subs because he has a very clear idea of what he needs to change. So tactically, they should be better. If that wins them a tournament or not, that remains to be seen. So yeah.
All right, man. Exciting times, exciting times. So let's see how the boys do it. But hey, Tuchel, if you manage to bring it home, you become a legend immediately. Like, people will build a statue for you. I'm sure you'd have a statue there in the Buckingham Palace. I'm sure you get everything you've ever wanted. I'm sure even the British will give you citizenship right there and then. So, yeah, good luck, Tuchel, with all that. But anyway, listener, thank you so much for hanging out with the Forest Brothers podcast. Hopefully, you've loved this episode. We've got more coming. And yeah, just keep rocking with us. Tell your friends, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. But definitely comment. We want to hear your thoughts on the content here. Let us know, man. Like, don't be shy. We'll respond back. So with that, thank you very much, listener. And I'll give it up to my brothers here just to say their final goodbyes, and we'll close it out. Starting the boys sang and then Mangor, and then we'll close the pod out. So over to you, Mr. Samson.
Dear listener, Thank you for hanging with us at the Forest Brothers podcast. As always, it is a pleasure bringing you this pod, and pleasure to be doing it with my two brothers, Mutsa Mangor. Great being here with you, gents. And yeah, hope to catch you on the next one. See ya.
Thank you, beautiful listener and viewer, for tuning into the Frost Brothers podcast. It's been a lovely episode. Hopefully, you enjoy it as much as we do. You have some nuggets that you can take away from what you've heard today, and you go thinking about some of the things we've mentioned today, and hopefully, you start to see them as the football season progresses. And as Samson mentioned, it's been lovely to be here with my two brothers here. We're back, Frost Brothers podcast. Do the right thing. I think I need to bring back the three W's. I'm not going to call them three W's this year. This year we're going to call them three simple things that you have to do. Number one is to like. Number two is to subscribe. And number three is to turn on that notification bell to know when your best podcast that you know has dropped. So once you do that, you're gonna have a beautiful week. You're gonna have a beautiful year. You're gonna enjoy the festive. You're gonna do everything right, listener. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and to the next one.
Thank you there, Mr. Mangoro. And yeah, listener, with that, we say thank you very much, and we'll catch you on the next one.